everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. I don't get it, y'all. I just don't get it. And what it is that I'm talking about is Tamar, Braxton, and the Braxtons. Y'all, over the last couple months, I've watched all this stuff play out like y'all did. And I watched the latest from Toni Braxton and, trying to support her little sister and, speaking out against Tamar's ex. And I also saw the statement that Tamar put out, kind of defending David. And I just wanted to speak my mind on it. So here's the thing. I have a little sister too. I have two brothers. I'm the oldest. And all of us have different personalities. Raised by the same parents, but we're all different. Some of us are a lot easier to get along with, and some of us aren't. And we all understand that about each other. We've been knowing each other all our lives. Now, I want to take a step back and talk about when Tamar was breaking up with Vince. I remember all the stuff that was said about Vince and that he was beating her, and this had been going on for a while, and all that stuff we heard about Vince. And the mother, doing her interview and all of that. Then they break up, you know, dragging each other left and right. And then she meets this new guy. We hear about this new guy. And I felt when she first got with him that she needed some time. She had been with Vince quite a number of years, and I had said that, you need time to get yourself together, to find out who you are as a woman. Y'all, I was with someone for 17, almost 18 years. And I remember after we had broken up, a few months had passed, and I was like, well, I'm open to dating. Let me just see what happens. And I remember I was coming home from work one day, and I lived about 10 minutes from my job. So I used to go home for lunch every day. And when I get in my car, I literally have my music on sonic boom. I just love it bass. I love it loud, and I sing to the top of my lungs. So I traveled the same route, shooting home every day for lunch. And I remember that the route that I take, every day when I would go home for lunch, it would be this police car that sat right on the other side of the train tracks. And right after you pass the train tracks, there was a stoplight. So I knew he was always there, so I always knew to slow down. Plus, this place where I worked at was in a very swanky white suburb. So I didn't know whether the officer was black or white. I just knew I would see a police car all the time. So this one day I'm driving, music on sonic boom, he's singing to the top of my lungs. I do my little thing, slow down when I see the police officer, the car, and then I proceed on to the light. Okay, I get to the light is red, I stop, and I notice the police car pull up behind me and turn on its lights. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I haven't ran a red light, I wasn't traveling fast, why is he pulling me over? So I proceed to reach down in my purse, get my license and all that stuff, and be ready, have my hands on the steering wheel when he walks up. So when I was looking through my side view mirror, I noticed that the police officer was black. So I was like, well, what is this? So he comes up and he leans down. He looks me over. He doesn't say anything. So I said, officer, I was sitting at the light. I didn't run it. And, I made sure, I'm doing the speed limit. What did I do wrong? He says to me, I watch you pass here every day. He was like, and you have your music booming. I like the music that you play. So I'm like, where is this going? So he said, it ought to be a crime and I should write you a ticket. How you are screaming, singing this song and how bad you sound. So for a minute there, I sat there and was like, did he say what I just think he said? And then he started laughing. And he said, I'm not going to write you a ticket. I just figured that the best way to pull you over is to turn my lights on. Can I get your number? So I was like, oh, okay. You know how you like, hey, Big Daddy, you know. So I would, for a minute, I was a little shocked. And then when I checked him out, I was like, he's not bad looking. Now, it was only about 4 months after my ex had literally moved out. So I went on a couple dates with him, and I remember around the fourth or fifth day, he started talking about how when he was younger, he lived with someone, and he had been in a long-term relationship, and when he was younger, he didn't do things right. He said he made all kinds of mistakes, and now that he's older, he wants to do stuff right. And he wants to be serious. He doesn't want to be dating around. Now he's telling me all this. And so he started asking me, what did I want? So, first off, you start off by saying, well, I just recently got out of a long-term relationship, and, I was just, tipping my feet back in the water of dating. So, of course, he asked me how long the relationship was. I told him. And then he said, how long have you been, you know, broken up with the person? So I think at the time it was roughly about 4 or 5 months, maybe 6. And I remember him looking funny. And he was like, wow. And I said, what does the wow mean? And he was like, I'm just thinking. So, we hung out that day. And when he went home, he called me. And he said, I'm ready for something that you're not ready for. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, well, because you've been in a relationship all those years and you really just got out of it, you really need to play a little bit. You need to be out here meeting all kinds of guys. He said, you got with your ex when you were about, 21 years old. He said, now you're in your 40s. You really don't even know what you want. He was like, and although I like you, I'm ready to settle down and, just get to know one person. And he was like, and what I feel is that I'm just a stop on the road for you. Now I'm sitting there looking at this man because the more he talked, the more I liked him, because I was like, oh, he's cute too. And, he's calm and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, so you're breaking up with me? And he was like, well, we can be friends. He was like, and maybe in a year after you've been out there a while, if we're still friends, you know, we can talk then. And so when I got off the phone, I was like, well, okay, I'm not going to call him if he doesn't call me because basically that was a breakup. Now, he did continue to call me, but it was less and less often until eventually I actually met someone else and kind of start avoiding his calls because it was awkward. The reason why I tell this story is because when Vince and Tamar broke up, I think like that officer gave me that advice about you need time. You need time to find out who you are after that long relationship by yourself first. You know, learn who you are as a woman. And then he said, and then when you go out there, you don't need to be settling down with one person. You need to date a little bit, you know, because the last time you were out dating, you were in your 20s, early 20s, and now you're a woman, late 30s, early 40s. Not only has the world changed, but you changed. I can appreciate what he was telling me now that I'm older because he was right. But at the time, I was thinking, oh man, I like him even more because, he had really thought about this. So I think that with Tamar, she needed that time. Um, I also think that Tamar is a spoiled brat and that her family has let her get away with a lot of stuff. I also think that the things that she does to her family in the way that she treats them, they love her and they accept it because it's their baby sister, it's the mother's youngest child, and all that. But that same shit doesn't work out in the street. The way you talk to your family and the way you treat your family and the shit they let you get away with, strangers are not going to do that. You know, they're going to check you. It's going to be problems. And I believe that that's what's happening. I don't think the guy was innocent by any means because even though she says he wasn't clout chasing, I believe to a certain degree he was. I mean, how could he not? He was dating someone who was on television and whose family is, famous because of Tony. Now, when it comes to the Braxton family, I'm just going to say this. I got family members that, while I love them, I know they not no good. You know what I mean? And I can't make excuses for some of the things that they do. You might have a mutual friend and they say, well, I know this family member of yours and I don't like this bullshit they did, and they break it down what happened, and you are standing there in the position where you're saying, am I to defend them because we blood, or even though I know they're wrong, or do I just not say nothing? Now, I will never stand with someone and let them just berate my family member. I will tell them, I know they ain't right, but I'm not going to stand here while you literally, berate them. But what I'm not going to do is, if I know my family member ain't right, I don't stand there defending them or defending them in their wrong. And I believe that a lot of times when it comes to Tamar, the family kind of makes excuses for her. Because Tamar could be a rotten bitch. I know it's a whole bunch of folks out there that like her. It's not that I don't dislike her. I just think that she can be something else. And I'm not about to sit up here and make excuses for her. She's a singer and all that, but you can be famous and not be a bitch. There have been singers before her, much more famous, more accolades, just, more going on than the fact that you're Tony Braxton's little sister, and because of Tony Braxton, you ended up out there singing too, blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't think that they should always defend her, Sometimes it's better to shut your mouth and let the shit hit the fan and let her pick her own self up. I also believe that her mother, the Braxton mother, is her name Miss Evelyn? I forgot her name because I haven't watched the show in a little bit because they actually started getting on my nerves with all their little stuff. But she's a bit of a diva, and she raised a diva. You know, I was remembering when I was watching the show, and after all those years, all of that with the ex-husband, y'all, I'm gonna tell you like this. This is how I feel when it comes to men, and if they cheat on you and all of that. I'm not gonna say in the immediate aftermath of you finding out that your man done cheated and been wrong and then left you for another woman and all that you not caught up in your feelings, and it take you a long time if you love them to get over it. I'm not gonna say that, but I do get over it, and I forget about it, and I put it in the past. I've been cheated on, lied to, all that stuff. But I don't carry a grudge for the rest of my life because I have done that before and seen a person years later and realized they ain't been thinking about me. While I've been carrying a grudge with all this hatred in my heart, they done went on with their life and they ain't thought twice about me. And I think of all the time I wasted hating on them and carrying the damn grudge. And they didn't even give me a second thought. So I remember thinking, you know what? Don't let him even know that this is still bothering you after all these years. I wouldn't give him the satisfaction of knowing that it did. So I just, I don't know. I don't know. And then even when Tamar came out and made her statement, you know, saying that now her family wants to speak out for her. That shows you right there that she's a spoiled bitch. They always support their little sister. They always do. Even though she gets on their nerves and she fucks with them, if they think that somebody's trying to hurt her, they gather around her like a family does and like they're supposed to do. And they support her even when they know she's wrong. So I think that was kind of a low blow at her sisters, you know, because they're there for her. And then also, too, I don't care how close you are to your family, they don't know everything that goes on behind closed doors. I remember that when I was in a relationship, that long term relationship, I knew that when I went over my mother's house, there were certain things that I embellished when I was telling her, taking her my complaints because she's my mother. And I knew she was going to be on my side. And I wanted her to be mad at him. So I would just play up every little thing because I'm talking to my mom, and I was going to get to her before he did and make sure I let her know he wrong, mom, not me, you know. So when Tamar was coming back, she's telling her version of things. But you know how they say there's her story, there's his story, and then the truth is somewhere in the middle. In a relationship, what I learned, and it took me a long time to learn it, y'all, because in the beginning, when I first broke up, everything was his fault. I was like, he wasn't this, he didn't do that, he cheated, blah, blah, blah. But as time passed on and I got further and further away and I became a little bit more mature around Tamar's age, I started saying, you know what? It took two to tango. And when I look back, maybe if I had been a little more this, or maybe if I had done this. Now, this is not about his cheating because that was completely on him. But you start to remember little things that, happen, incidents or things that y'all went through. And when you look back now and you can be totally honest, you like, oh, girl, you were wrong when you did that, or you shouldn't have said that to him, because now you're a little bit more mature and that relationship doesn't mean that much to you anymore. So you can be honest about, any part that you played. And, when times were bad and, you could have not argued, y'all know what I mean. The bottom line is Tamar need to get herself together. Because not only did after that police officer told me that I needed time, unconsciously I took the time. I thought, because I did meet someone else eventually. It was about a year or so later, because basically right after I had talked to that police officer for a little while, um, I realized that my son wasn't feeling me dating. It was too new to him, and the idea of his mom dating was rubbing him the wrong way. So I did take a little time because it was important to my child. And then the next relationship that I was in, my son was a little bit older and had seen me single a little bit and was more willing to accept someone else. And taking that time, that police officer was right. I had a time to work on myself, to heal any stuff or lose any baggage that I was carrying from my past relationship. Because even though you might not think that you're carrying baggage, you're carrying baggage. And you want, when you get to the next guy, that you're coming to him with a clean slate, that you're not bringing all that other stuff that you had in your other relationship. I'm going to give y'all an example of how it works in the reverse, too. Y'all, I just recently was dating a guy for about 10 months or so. Maybe not even that long. And what I noticed about him is he liked to argue a lot. You know, was very, I'm not going to say very disagreeable, but just persnickety. And, just easily to get into little words with him. So I remember one day I told him, I said, why were you even arguing? The stuff that you think to argue about is silly to me. I mean, like, this is one of these type of people that it could be a blue sky, beautiful, and you come and say, oh, the sky is beautiful. And what do you mean? It looks like clouds to me. And one day I just told him, I said, you know what? We is grown. We got gray hair. What are we arguing about? I don't live with you. You don't live with me. We don't share no kids together. You ain't got to pay none of my bills. You don't have to come over here doing nothing for me. I just want to have fun. Let's hang out. Let's laugh. Let's go places, do stuff. I'm not stressing you, and I appreciate it if you don't stress me. Why do you have an attitude all the time? And what type of women are you used to dating where you're arguing? Because to me, it seems like you like to argue. And I'm all for, let's go have some fun. Let's laugh. Let's go somewhere and do something fun. So one day, I had a conversation with him. And the moment I picked up the phone, I said, his punk ass is in a funky mood. So just like I had predicted, the conversation was a little left. So eventually, when I could see that he was just in a foul mood and everything I said was aggravating him, I cut him off. I said, look, you know what? We don't even got to do this. And he was like, what? What you mean? I said, because I'm not going to be bickering back and forth with somebody that, over stuff that don't even make sense. It's stupid, you know? Pretty much our time together, because, we're not responsible for each other, should be just two middle-aged people coming together at the end of the week after they done worked and having fun. Why you like to argue all the time? So I told him after this, you know what? I don't even want to do this. I said, because there's so many men out in the world that are just looking for somebody to spend time, companionship, hang out, go places together, and, a fun person. Because y'all, I'm so drama free, it is not even funny. Because I don't like drama, stress, or I don't like all that. Let's laugh. Let's go somewhere. Go stand by the water and look at the ducks and talk and walk. Let's go get something to eat. Let's watch a movie together. Let's be silly. What the fuck are we doing? I kicked his ass to the curb and didn't think twice. Blocked him everywhere. Facebook, everywhere I could block him, I blocked him. Because, after a while, you're like, I got more life behind me than I probably got in front of me. I'm 55. I don't want to be spending my time with some, and Lord, this is the only way I could put it, bitchy ass man. That I swear to God, y'all, it was like he was menopausal or something. Moody. That's the word I was looking for. He was a moody person. And because my energy is positive, I would call him all bubbly. How's it going? How's your week going? And as soon as he opened his mouth, it was a downer. It would start off real high, and the more he talked, the lower my spirits would sink. So when I got off the phone, you know how you're like, damn, let me go turn on something funny. Let me watch Bernie Mac or something, one of his, stand-up comedy shows, and get my mood back up, because his punk whining ass is aggravating. That is funny when I think about it. But before I get out of here, y'all, I just want to say, Tamar need to take some time, y'all. And she needs to evaluate her life after all the stuff that she's gone through the last few months. She needs to maybe leave men alone. Go sit down and Find her somebody to talk to that's not in her family and just unload and get her peace back. Because I know that when I broke up, I was a little broken. And I need to put all my pieces together so I will be a good person for the next person. And we could be happy together, you know? And that's all I got to say about it, y'all. Family defending the indefensible. And I think Tamar needs to grow up. Take responsibility. This is a woman that's in her late 30s, early 40s. I could see if she was, young, still in her early 20s. But at some point, we all got to take responsibility for the role that we play in whatever relationships we have. And I find it quite ironic, and this is the last thing, y'all, that another person who came to her rescue was Vince, threatening to fuck the guy up and everything. And for what I'm understanding, she was staying with him for a little bit. The Vince that they said was whooping her ass and made her life a living hell, and, they was dragging him and the mama was dragging him and all. It's Vince. Okay? Ciao. And with that, y'all, I'm going to get out of here. Y'all have a good one. As always, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.